Brace yourself
Someone tried to kill you, Garrick.
for a devastating revelation
You'll be taking Romulus and Cardassia into war.
on the next Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Brace yourself for a catastrophic revelation
Why would the Romulans want to have Garrick killed?
on the next Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Quark's greedy empire is threatened
Welcome to Club Martis.
when a shrewd competitor sets up shop
He can't do this. I have an exclusive contract.
and tries to put him out of business.
Martis is cutting into my profits.
Now, can he con the con man?
My benevolence is known far and wide.
Or has Quark met his match?
He'll be in profit by the end of the week.
On the next episode of Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Quark's greedy empire is threatened by a shrewd competitor.
He can't do this. I have an exclusive contract.
Has Quark met his match?
He'll be in profit by the end of the week.
Next time on Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Quark's greedy empire is threatened.
He can't do this. I have an exclusive contract.
On the next Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Odo. Opportunity knocks.
You want me to sell weapons, don't you?
The riskier the road, the greater the profit.
With an offer Quark can't refuse.
It's no different than selling sandwiches.
Don't ever cross me.
But the price of success,
I haven't broken any laws.
I will nail you to the wall, is devastating.
$28 million.
On the next Star Trek Deep Space Nine. It's an offer Quark can't refuse.
You want me to sell weapons, don't you?
But success doesn't come cheap.
$28 million.
On the next Star Trek Deep Space Nine. The price of success
You want me to sell weapons, don't you?
is devastating. On the next Star Trek Deep Space Nine. The truth. In the name of destiny,
I know it's out there.
Cisco embarks on a deadly quest. For the sake of honor,
Have to get closer.
Worf must achieve an impossible victory. Fire! In the line of duty,
I'm gonna set up a blockade.
Kira faces a fatal showdown.
The Romulans have powered their weapons.
In the heat of battle, failure is not an option. On the next Star Trek Deep Space Nine. A deadly quest, an impossible victory. Fire! A fatal showdown. In the heat of battle, failure is not an option. On the next Star Trek Deep Space Nine. In the name of destiny, Cisco embarks on a deadly quest. On the next Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
Imprisoned for a crime he didn't commit.
Would you care to make a confession?
In a world where truth means nothing.
What am I being charged with?
No need to worry about that.
And even an innocent man
Your husband's verdict has already been determined.
can be found guilty.
His execution is scheduled for next week.
O'Brien is on trial for his life.
I am not guilty. I have committed no crime.
The sentence is death.
On the next Star Trek Deep Space Nine. imprisoned for a crime he didn't commit.
His execution is scheduled for next week.
Now, O'Brien is on trial for his life.
The sentence is death.
On the next Star Trek Deep Space Nine. O'Brien is on trial for his life.
The sentence is death.
On the next Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
A hopeless rescue.
It's 6 years since Aravanok disappeared. Odds are everyone on board is dead.
A hidden agenda.
If my daughter is still alive, I have no choice but to kill her.
A buried past.
If you hurt that girl, I'll kill you.
Now a deadly hunt begins.
Dukat!
And Kira is the child's only hope.
Father?
On the next Star Trek Deep Space Nine. A hopeless rescue.
If my daughter is still alive, I have no choice but to kill her.
Begins a deadly hunt.
Dukat!
On the next Star Trek Deep Space Nine. A deadly hunt begins.
If you hurt that girl, I'll kill you.
On the next Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Time. Beyond the farthest star. A war rages on.
Prepare to engage the enemy.
At the edge of the final frontier.
It will be a glorious battle.
The fate of humanity is in doubt.
Millions of people are dying.
One man's destiny awaits.
Promise that you'll come home to us.
One last battle has begun.
What do you say we end this war?
The end of a legend is upon us.
Hang on.
A television event for now and forever. Witness the 2-hour series finale. Star Trek Deep Space Nine, the final chapter. Time of crisis.
Yalron is leading us all to ruin.
A time for action.
Something has to be done.
A time for treason.
Challenge Galwan in the middle of a war.
To save the Klingon Empire.
You are squandering our ships and our lives.
Will Worf have to destroy it?
This is madness.
On the next Star Trek Deep Space Nine. To save the Klingon Empire.
Yalron is leading us all to ruin.
Will Worf have to destroy it?
This is madness.
On the next Star Trek Deep Space Nine. To save the Klingon Empire, must Worf destroy it? On the next Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Total devastation.
18 confirmed dead, over 100 wounded.
Demands total retaliation.
This isn't going to be a suicide mission.
To destroy the Gem Hadar.
Victory is life.
Cisco must lead his crew
They'll become virtually invincible.
into a no-holds-barred battle to the death.
I've always wanted to kill a Klingon.
On the next Star Trek Deep Space Nine. To destroy the Gem Hadar, Cisco must lead his crew
They'll become virtually invincible.
into a no-holds-barred battle to the death. On the next Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Sisko must lead his crew into a no-holds-barred battle to the death on the next Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Every trapped in Earth's past.
I thought we were on the same side here.
Think again?
Sisko's mission is to save the future.
You don't know what any of this is about, do you?
But in order to keep history from being altered,
Those hostages aren't going anywhere until we get what we want.
We move in at 0500.
will he be forced to sacrifice himself on the next Star Trek?
Speaking of a lot of people talking in a room, thanks guys for coming to our no context stream whatsoever. Hello everybody. We're going to be watching the Siege of AR-558. Would you believe? Look at that face.
Oh baby.
He's in heaven. Look at him. I've just got to detach something. Sorry, my layout is a little bit... There we go. Sorry, this is a personal layout you can't see of my screens, but I'm just adjusting it now. Yeah, so we're going to be watching that. We've got trailers, we've got some DS9 action. How are you all, gentlemen, on this wonderful Sunday evening, the 18th of January, year of our Lord, Nog 2026?
Yeah, never better. So my kids and wife are off watching the Jack Black movie Anaconda, so I get to be here with you all watching some much better media. So
well, you drew the short straw, but that's okay, Dan.
Man, if Jack Black was in Star Trek, would he be a Klingon?
Kaczynski. I told you he'd be Kaczynski.
Oh God, he would.
So great.
You'd probably get cast as a Ferengi, let's be real. That's kind of the natural thing I could say, yeah.
He'd be the first bearded Ferengi, for sure.
That would look probably awful, but okay.
Never seen a Ferengi with facial hair. When Nog is in Far Beyond
There's
the Stars,
probably a
has he
reason.
got anything on his face?
No.
I don't think they've ever done that.
Clean shaven, Aaron Eyes.
I think it probably looked bad. Like, but I would imagine they did like makeup tests. It probably looked really like don't do it. Just don't make it look good.
As Marky would say, not everyone keeps their facial hair in the same place.
Hang on, can we just break that down? Not everyone keeps their facial hair.
Goatee. I was going to say goatee, and I lost the word. Not enough goatees on the stream.
If
all
it's
right,
called facial hair,
let's watch the trailer.
Goatee.
If it's on your arms, it's armshell hair. Okay, all right. Let's not delve too deep in this. We got some trailers.
I'm really glad to see.
I want to make sure Dan has enough time to go watch an Anaconda with his family. So,
all right. So, for those who don't know, we're going to play a little bit of a trailer game. This is 3 trailers for the same episode. By the end of trailer 1, we have to guess what is the scene that's going to be in the final 5-second trailer. This all stems from The Perfect Mate, where the final trailer was just Kamala stroking the card's head to the TNG theme music, and we found it fucking hilarious. So we're going to carry that on. So here we go. Here's the first trailer. Oh, hang on. I need to rewind and turn my volume up because I can't hear shit.
Oh, a minute 12. Oh, that's for all 3.
Right, let's go.
The front lines of a bitter conflict.
When we landed here, there were 150 of us. We're down to 43.
The battle scars run deep.
These people have been through a lot.
And a long and deadly standoff.
We'll have to even out the odds.
Rests on one final showdown.
Yeah, that's it.
As dead.
Not yet, we are.
But can Sisko and his crew escape alive? On the next Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
Oh, it's going to be Sisko knocked down to the floor in the back of his head.
I think it should be him screaming, "Fuck!"
I'm going to go with that as well, yeah.
I thought it was Quark turning around and doing the money shot.
All right, let's see.
Trailer 2.
A long and deadly standoff.
These people have been through a lot.
Rests on one final showdown.
We're as good as dead.
Not yet, we are.
On the next Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
Oh, I'm out.
Oh, it could be
I'm out.
Could be Dan's. Let's go for number 3.
A deadly standoff.
Oh no!
Rests on one final showdown on the next Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, the
They
quote
went
shot.
for the effect shot. Yeah, fair enough.
Okay. This is Otto's baby, so we're not going to try and riff on this too much as we watch it, because I know you're... I think you've got some sort of spiritual, emotional attachment to this episode that if we try and sever it, you may actually shrivel up and die.
No, it's just... I don't think you guys are going to want to riff over it at a certain point, because it is it's known as really one of the heaviest episodes. So.
Okay, let's do some pre-ratings. Dan, let's start with you. What do you think you're going to rate this at?
Yeah, I don't recall every detail about this episode, but I remember watching it and being moved by it. I think this will live up to the hype. I'm looking forward to giving this in the low 9, so I'm going to go 9.3.
A low 9. Ooh. Stars.
I remember this episode being great. This is season 7, so I think DS9 season 7 is not as strong as seasons 5 and 6. Mostly because of the mixed up with Esri, although I think they kind of work out how to best use her as the season goes on. And I feel like a lot of the strength of this episode actually comes from the sequel episode, which focuses on Nog. I don't think I have as much of a spiritual connection to it as Auto, so I'm going to go with a conservative 8.4.
8.4. Very
You're
nice.
dodging the meme.
Yes.
Auto did say, he did say if I rated this an 8.5, he's just going to straight up leave. Okay, I will give this. I remember this being good. I think they try and go for a gritty war story, but I think the budget may let it down a little bit. But erring on the edge of caution, I think this is a deep episode, so I'm going to go for a 9, a straight 9 down the middle. Well, furthest away from the middle as you can get, but a pretty straight 9. Things. Also, I'm going to assume it's going to be
more about the nuances of 9.
10. I can't be objective with a few of my picks, and this is one of them. I told the fellas I was just going to flip through last night, look at a couple scenes, and kind of see where they interject, because they only do, I think, 2 original tracks for this episode, but obviously there's a lot of like filler music, transition music. And I'm like, oh, I'll just flip through and see what they were. And like 40 minutes later, I'd watch the whole thing, and I'm just like, no, please don't. So,
spoilers.
The reason I picked this one for today is because someone who shall remain anonymous, who drafted Measure Man in round 1, told me that I may favor talky episodes a little bit too much. Oh. This, according to a certain spreadsheet, has the 4th fewest words across all DS9 episodes. So this is not a talkie. This is not a people sit around and debate shit.
No, sitting.
There's no sitting in this one, folks. So... yeah, well,
this is perfectly calculated to buck the trend, isn't it?
That's right.
If they're not sitting having scintillating dialogue, what's the point? Said Fraser Crane. Okay, let's start this episode.
Also, a reminder, you're on Schiller rating duty.
That is indeed, yes.
Yep.
He's had this loaded for weeks, I bet. Overtime.
I always come prepared.
He's pre-rating this a 5.58 out of 10. Well,
there you go. Someone wants to get cheeky.
Let's start this off in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Punch it.
Should have been 5.58, really. I've forgotten about this.
This is such a ROM thing to do.
It's...
Nothing says gritty war episode like Rom singing. Gritty war episode like Rom.
He has to pretend that was good.
I love Vic.
Yeah, Vic's great.
He's a bit. I find some people really, really like him. Some people really, really hate him. I like him.
Yeah.
Imagine getting dunked on by a hologram.
I forgot about that.
Okay, it's worth it just for that gag.
You can buy it on CD right now. I actually do have James Darren on CD, or had it anyway.
Oh yeah, I'm sure you do.
USO.
What a line.
How many asymmetric photons? Double S.
All right, here's where the episode actually begins.
Yeah, this is actually where it starts. Man, fucking Avery Brooks.
Mm-hmm.
I have thought about like what other captains I would enjoy watching in this role. I mean, they could all handle it, obviously, but
Picard in war would be interesting, like a proper wartime Picard.
Well, yesterday's Enterprise a little bit.
A little bit.
A little bit, yeah. To ball drinks.
That's why you're here.
What kind of facts do you need to find?
Moogie.
You are correct, Maze. Bill Mooney is in this episode.
Yeah, Bill Mooney, sci-fi legend.
Is it 33 that's piece of good for business?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you guys, I'm going to be asking for your favorite line of the episode, too. So keep an ear out for something you like from this.
I do love that he's strapped just casually.
Gotta be.
Got to get home to his Latinum.
Nice.
See, why wasn't that on the trailer?
Yep.
Wasn't ready yet.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, probably. You're not wrong. You can sit in the big boy chair.
Yeah.
He's on a couple of phone books, I'm sure.
It's fine. He's just pissed his pants. He needs to go change them.
You can't promise that.
Yeah, no. I mean, it kind of is. We're looking for reassurance, bro.
Also, he's been in plenty of combat.
Yeah, this is after he had the whole thing with Galen, the arms merchant and stuff, right?
And literally, Dijem Hadar.
Oh yeah, I remember we had to put all the combat-capable veterans on the ship.
Yep. There's no light on Shintoka. Somewhere Riddick just appears.
That's a very different episode.
I need to rewatch Pitch Black. I remember that being good.
Long cold open on this
Yeah.
one.
Actually forgot that was my main intro. 7 minutes, yeah, 7-minute cold open.
Yeah, if I were interested at all in criticizing this episode, Stars, I would say that it is very much a writer's thing to, all the guys that know how to fight were on the ship because they want to see how the other guys interact.
Yeah, no,
I get it, but
Yeah. It's an acceptable suspension of disbelief because it's a case of like we're not watching a real life war where you put your best veterans on the mission every time. It's a case of you're watching a TV show where you want to examine who breaks under pressure.
Well, I think here as well, they're not expecting to be
it.
sieged or go under conflict. They're kind of just doing a recce, and then Worf and O'Brien get
what? I mean, they literally got attacked by a Gemini ship like 5 minutes ago.
No, that's Starfleet phases, but anyway. But yeah, okay.
No, I'm talking about
but
in space, they got attacked in the system.
Yeah, but I mean, if you do beam down Worf and O'Brien, then do you really want like Ezri and Nog in charge while there's Jem'Hadar ships floating around? So
I'd rather Worf was on the ship and the best engineer. It does make sense. You put your
Oh yeah, it depends on what you consider to be the most essential thing. But it's also a case of you put your captain down there.
Yeah, that's
historically you're not meant to do in this period.
But Worf isn't strictly his first officer, so he can't really object. It's kind of a weird situation.
He is the first officer on the Defiant.
It's kind of a weird little
loophole. That's officially the way it
works. Yeah. It's actually
Worf's ship. Talking over the French horns. What the hell?
I'm sorry, I know it's sacrilege.
I'll have 3 lashings from the Dom Jot stick later.
Play Dom Jot.
Dom Jot, human.
I love how the title comes in here over some action. That doesn't happen too often.
So, Idle, when are we going to hear about your spreadsheet collating times for cold opens?
That's got to have someone's got to have done that.
No, he'd have to stop playing timelines for a minute for that to happen.
Yeah, I should check my event.
There's the boy.
It's Bryan Cranston. Just a kid from the streets.
Oh, well. That makes you capable guy number 3.
I like I'm not Captain Sisko, he's Ben Sisko.
He wants to walk among the troops.
I got 2 skills. Not one of them is giving a fuck.
Not wrong.
Considering how important it is, you would have thought they would at least have some reinforcements.
Yeah, like 150 people, and they've lost 2/3 of their force.
Yeah.
I mean, that underlines, though, how thin they're stretched.
Yeah. Because you have to imagine that there's like a million other Battle of Chintalkers going on that you aren't seeing.
Also sort of paints a picture of like Starfleet being like a peaceful bureaucracy, not prepared for this kind of war as well.
Yeah. I mean, they just start the episode just reading injury or casualty reports, so...
I've been given plot critical relevance to this episode.
Transtator.
Translator. What transtators, precious?
Boil 'em, mash 'em, stick 'em in an EPS conduit.
Make 'em fabulous.
Sorry, guys, we shouldn't be laughing. Please respect Auto's episode. Sorry.
That's pretty metal.
Fucking Quark.
Now he has a problem.
Quark's not wrong.
Oh, I like this speech.
Hmm.
Oh, Nog.
Hmm.
You know why? Holodeck privileges. No, this speech is great.
Humans.
No, this is great.
Hmm.
Oh. Thank you, Paul.
I was going to remark on music, because, yeah, that's a great little... Quark's always great. Quark is rarely not great, in fact.
He has a
That's the
similar
secret.
speech in the Jem'Hadar as well.
Oh, here we go.
Do like stoic Bashir.
Hmm.
I mean, you don't want to joke around with these guys. They're at the end of the rope.
Yeah.
Yeah, closed eyes to see. This is just the time code. We can't do a link. Copyright reasons.
Yeah, no, that's about the only reaction you can add to that. I think one of the other sort of criticisms you could level at this is that, like, it's very World War II for a sci-fi 24th century.
I think that's intentional. I think a lot of people in the
Yeah.
production as well. It's a lot of Vietnam kind of analogs as well.
Yeah, that too.
The director fought in Vietnam.
Yeah. It's also
did he? I
suffers.
didn't know that.
It also suffers from being a cave episode as well. We are in a cave.
Wow. That's a nasty mine. The Houdini mine. That's rough.
Yeah. Ezri's like, what? What?
We've got
I want to go.
volunteered, yeah.
Can I go?
Like, well, we're off to go and have a different episode.
Run away!
Oh my god.
I'm going to assume Auto's just muted me.
Yes, it's pretty smart of him to do.
No, I did just come, but I didn't mean it.
Do you even see anyone use like hand phases in this episode, or is it all the rifles?
Oh, I don't know. 9 kilometers is pretty far away. Those transporters must be pretty terrible.
Well, they were probably like, picking up on old Jem'Hadar camps and reinforcing
Good
those.
Oh yes, they have Nogdar.
Got them bat ears.
I love he's got a little sonic knife sharpener.
Yeah. That's what you call an abstraction.
I like this guy, Patrick Kilpatrick. He plays almost the same character and everything, but he's very good at it.
Guess what? If you're a working actor and you can find the one role you're perfect at, you'll work forever.
Yeah, this is... Jem'Hadar are dumb here. They can cloak, yet they kind of just go like, right, formation, here we go to die.
This is how they've attacked before, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is also a dummy attack, isn't it? That they're not even firing
They're
back.
about to address it in plot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I've not watched this episode for a while. Nah.
But I mean, that is kind of their whole shtick, that they're just... They
Cannon
grow them
fodder.
in labs and throw them into the meat grinder.
Hmm. Hologram.
Is there a limit to how much the Jem'Hadar can cloak?
They've never stated it.
Yeah.
It's biological, isn't it? It's not a device they have.
Yeah, it's just part of their chemistry.
Yeah. Not in this series, they're not.
Anyways, welcome to the stream, Close Eyes to See. I haven't seen you around here before.
Yeah.
Good episode to drop in on.
One we're least likely to talk over. Yet here we are.
Yes, it's true, yeah. Synchronize your thing and enjoy the color commentary when we bother to give it. Otherwise, we're just going to be sitting here engrossed.
Do you think Bill Mumy would be a good Joker from Mass Effect stars? It's kind of got the look.
I could see it.
Yeah.
Of the era, yeah.
I know people love Paper Moon, but I actually prefer this part of Nog where he plays the naive soldier that wants to earn respect. He wants to assimilate.
Ooh. I'm pretty sure the Dominion's idea of peace treaty is you become part of the Dominion.
Yeah. It's kind of how the Karema got involved, wasn't it? Because the Karema are essentially the Gamma Quadrant Ferengi.
Yeah.
Is that secretly Odo?
Quar.
Quar. He never pronounces the K, does he? Like Quar.
I like this line.
Ooh.
I mean, he's not wrong. When Jake decided to stay behind on station, he was very pissed off.
It's not the only moment of hypocrisy in this episode either.
Now we can see precisely how fucked we are.
We're going to pump up the jam.
Just keep flashing up very, very, very.
If you can scan this, you're too close. What?
Hold onto your ass.
Oh man, the Optronic and Isodyne relays.
ISO? That takes me back.
Kind of a Doctor Who thing.
Boy, I can't wait till they get him back to the station. They can have a nice romance episode.
I'm sure everything will turn out just fine for him.
Yeah, it's going to be A-okay.
Suddenly Ensign Gamble shows up. They're like, what the fuck?
Oh, fuck. Not again.
Why are they all so likable?
O'Brien beams down just so he can get shot, and then they beam him back up.
Bloody hell.
Jesus.
There you go.
Yeah. I do like the nonsense numbers at the bottom, like that they mean nothing. There's no like range.
That's because you're not a trained Starfleet officer.
Sorry.
Jesus.
I don't even see the numbers. I just see blonde, brunette.
Yeah, do you complain about the fact that the L-cards buttons have numbers on them that you got into it as well?
Hey, that's customizable. You can have your own sense of garbage on there.
Yeah.
Some people just don't know good UX design when they see it.
I like here that Nog is actually leading the group.
Well, he's still ensign. He hasn't been promoted to lieutenant yet, has he?
No, but I mean, because of his hearing, he gets to dictate movements.
Yeah.
Oof. Oh, there it goes. That's, yeah.
This might be the only time a Ferengi scream isn't played for comedy in the whole franchise.
It's
maybe?
interesting they still made it that not comical or unique, really. They could have... I don't know. A fourth column at the side, so they all get wiped out.
Not so much his leg, but you know.
It'll grow back, right? Oh. God damn Quark.
Oh.
What can Cisco do about it? He should have lost a lobe. No, but I mean, serious. Like, that's a very.
But that would have
Ferengi
required
thing.
makeup.
Well, less makeup, if anything.
Well, no, you'd have to model damage.
Yeah.
That growl.
Oof.
Yeah, that's rough.
That'll be the drugs.
Yeah, that's what I think that thing behind his head is.
Yeah, it's different for a Ferengi. They have to tap into the cranium.
Oh, God.
You'll be right, little Jimmy. You'll be A-okay. You'll make it at home for Christmas.
All right, so muting idol.
Sorry.
No, I get it.
It's okay. I just read all his draft picks for.
Already.
Looking for hot singles in my area.
Oh, it's okay if you do it.
This is a cool scene.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Dee
I mean, it's pretty amazing they didn't hit one already.
Well, because they move.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Phased too, aren't they?
Yeah, they're phased through subspace and they come and go.
Okay.
The fact that he has to just stare at nothing for that, you know. Time to commit a Benjamin Sisko guaranteed war crime.
You ever played Domjot?
And the other 2/3. He's not wrong. I think Overtime might actually be getting a bit annoyed with you, which is rare.
It's just me on my alt, shitting on Idle.
This entire time. If I hadn't seen you in the same stream together, I would probably suspect that.
You're right. Not a lot of sitting, but there's certainly some squatting.
Yeah. There's a lot of eager swatting.
It's good for the calves. Good for the glutes.
That's what I'd do. If I had a rifle, I'd play with it like that. No, they probably just hop up on drugs.
That's right.
Bit of James.
Yeah. It's an intimidation tactic. It'll work wonders on the Jemadar.
Yeah, it's like demon metal to them, isn't it?
Yes.
It's what they play in the Jemadar equivalent of Guantanamo Bay.
Love that little bit of prop work.
It is interesting because, like, you don't often see Bashir as like the war veteran. Yeah, he completely is.
Oof.
And I don't think we've watched much late series DS9, have we? We've only seen.
Not really, no.
The stuff we've been watching lately has been like naive young Bashir. This is quite the contrast.
Well, this is a post Super Soldier reveal as well.
Yes.
I love Raymond Cruz.
It's Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Not a single wide beam amongst them. Oh, someone does use a hand phaser. Okay.
Fucking hell. How many simple conflicts that could have been resolved by a simple wide beam?
Listen, you can make those jokes when it's your turn to do a shillering.
Oof.
You have to wonder how often people got by friendly fire.
Mm-hmm.
A lot.
Like wearing the grey versus the Jem'Hadar uniforms would be easy to make the mistake.
This would make a really badass moment for a Worf entrance, though.
Yeah, but this isn't about being badass. That's the point of the episode.
I know, but you'll talk about hype moment. Man, that music is doing something, isn't it?
Mm. All right, now time for the strobe disco.
Well, you know, gotta have your reward. Need to unleash.
Yep. Wolfie doesn't need to hear that right now.
Good profile.
I do like it as a moment of genuine, like, cultural difference, though.
Interesting they chose him to be the one survivor.
He held.
That's a lot of people.
I think it's actually fairly small for the war.
Well, I think that's like this week's casualty list.
Wow.
What was that episode, like 18 minutes? Jesus.
Yeah, felt like it, didn't it? Holy
that
moly.
was tight, yeah.
That was tight.
Tight.
Very tight.
Very good reference there, Dan.
Okay, let's do this.
Yeah. Close eyes, maze, overtired. Thanks for sticking with us. Glad we could share it with y'all.
It's great. Thank you, everyone, for watching it. We're here on Star Trek Trek to watch through episodes of Star Trek in a various order we decide, and we have just come back from the very humbling siege of AR-558, deep in the depths of the Dominion War, Season 7 of Star Trek Deep Space Nine. This was Auto's draft pick. Auto, please tell us why you picked this episode, why this particular one, considering and as part of this Trek, we've never done any of the DS9 Dominion War stuff so far, and this one comes out swinging. So what was your main reasoning here?
Paul Balargian is a big reason. I love his music. He's my favorite Trek composer. Because I picked it because they hold on Raymond Cruz for 48 seconds and let him tell the story about McGreevy. When Sisko gets knocked down, they cut away the other music and we get 9 seconds of this top note French horn. Like it's a heart rate monitor. They put in so much care on the little details, the cinematography. We'll talk about the themes later, but just, it's all the little things. You're never going to see this in TNG. You're never going to see this in Enterprise or TOS or Voyager. Maybe Strange New Worlds, like they did Cloak of War, but it's just, you don't see this a lot in Star Trek. It's very unique and, it's derivative in some places. But for this franchise, I think this is as good as it gets.
I think, because this is the unique situation. It's the only time we have in Star Trek an active, ongoing war, other than Discovery Season 1, but that was a whole different thing. Although we did have a frontline war episode with Mbenga's introduction. I forget, was that Under the Cloak of War? That wasn't it? The one with the flashback to Mbenga's past, where he meets Chapel for the first time. That's probably the only other episode I can think.
About.
But even that wasn't quite as gritty as this, although it had its own moral ambiguity to it. But yeah, you can't imagine, when Voyager sort of have episodes about where they dropped into a war, they were very much sort of like, oh, we're toy soldiers here. It didn't feel quite as gritty because they weren't as involved. And TNG, I don't think, they were always involved in the negotiations to a skirmish rather than being in the skirmish itself. But this was definitely sort of deep, gritty. We're in the war. We're on the front lines, and it was a conflict for various sort of characters, and it was interesting them coming from their sort of not the DS9's a particularly plushy place to live. It is a Cardassian space station after all, but they had the comforts of life to going down to the gritty war.
Well, this is the trenches, isn't it? So, I mean, the entire point of view of the episode takes place pretty much just in the ravine that they're, stuck in, and so it's about the shell shock and the sharing of the stories and all the preparations to, what might wind up, being their last battle. And I thought that, focusing more on that and less on action set pieces and, it's clear the budget for this episode was in the visual effects, and we got a whole lot of phasers and things like that. But they, they didn't go over the top with it. It wasn't overly flashy. I think it was what it needed to be to really convey just kind of the horrors, without getting graphic enough that it would take it out of primetime television.
And it's interesting as well, when you do get the big final battle, essentially, the thing that comes to everything, you get this beautiful piece of music over the top, which makes the whole thing kind of sad, and it's not kind of played as this big, right, action, here you go, kid, here's the stuff to get, it's a very, you sort of sit back and think about what's going on, and the characters that are getting gunned down at that moment.
So I was actually curious. This episode aired on the 16th of November in 1998. Does anyone want to guess what debuted on the 11th of September that year?
1998.
Major motion picture. 1998, a major motion picture.
Oh gosh.
Steven Spielberg directed it.
Oh, 98.
Oh, was it Saving Private Ryan?
Private Ryan.
I think these guys did it first. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, no, they like that kind of actually improves the episode even more dramatically because no, it's 1998. So if you consider the fact that this came out before Saving Private Ryan, obviously guess what, you're working on a TV budget, you don't have Steven Spielberg behind the director.
Could you imagine though?
But I think I think this is kind of your idea of what a Saving Private Ryan Star Trek would look like, and I think that considering the budget constraints, it's obviously a case of working under certain restrictions. This is easily probably the best you could have done at the time, and I think that nowadays you could probably make it look better. But it was something I was thinking about watching. Is this is a very grey episode, but that's kind of the point. And it's one of those things where it's it's not very nice to look at, but it shouldn't be nice to look at. And someone mentions if I thought about Starfleet Academy doing this, it'd be a very different tone, it'd be a very different aesthetic, and I don't know if it would work quite as well. I mean, I think that Under the Cloak of War comes best to replicating what this episode does really, really well. And it also kind of fuses it with its sequel episode in terms of being about the consequences of it. But I think you're very right. There is almost no other Star Trek that could do this and also carry it through properly. Even if you did an episode like this for the TNG crew, it would have no impact because they would no real continuity for it. Do you remember what happens at the end of Best of Both Worlds? We'll have the fleet back up in under a year. What the fuck are you talking about? You lost 39 ships and God knows how many thousands of people, and they just absolutely just wipe it away. The only person that has consequences for is Picard, whereas this obviously has massive consequences for Nog, but also for other characters as well. So you kind of have to. It's a very particular animal. It's a very, very unique episode, even though it's derivative in other ways.
You won't get this kind of episode nowadays either. There's gonna have to be some sort of quip or little interjection to make it silly or funny and break the tension so that it can be more palatable.
I like that they put that up front because I mean, they didn't need to, but they did because I think it said somewhere in Memory Alpha they wanted at least a little bit of levity. You can't drop it in the middle. You can't put it at the end. It's got to be where it is, and that's fine.
Yeah. It's very over the top as well. It's overperformed because they're listen, here's your clown bit because the rest of it you're not going to be laughing one even little bit.
I like that USO line by Vic. Which, of course, a man of his era, the actor, I should say, that was, I'm sure he has that in his memory. Yeah, Star Trek likes to wipe at the end. And we almost get that. They all stand together. Reese throws down his knife. I'm ready to go. And they beam back up. They're going to leave this rock. Everybody goes home, except Kellen, except Commander Parker, except Vargas, except McGreevy, except Lieutenant Nadia Larkin, except Nog's leg, except the 100 other people that died in the last 5 months. And it's you think it's almost a wipe at the end. We get the big beam up, but then you remember, oh, right, all those other guys that just got gunned down in the back a few minutes ago. And another little, I like the little details in this. When they beam down the replacements, they're young, and they pick a guy with a high-pitched voice to call out the orders, and then Reese calls them children. And it's... Even if you don't think about that subconsciously, it's these guys they look, we're out of reserves. This is all we have.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, I commented before, pre-watching, as we were watching the episode, pre-watching the episode, just they were short-staffed. They weren't, they were supposed to be there for 2 months. They'd been there for 5, or 2 weeks, and they'd been there for 5. And as part of me was thinking, well, hang on, Starfleet doesn't operate like that. Maybe they'd be better. But actually, no, this is a Starfleet that doesn't deal with wars like that. You know, the most they'd had was like, ever since the Klingon War, nothing's, you know, skirmishes here and there, a brief spat with the Zenkethi, but no major full-scale war. Well, they have to put serious provisions in, and this Federation were not equipped to do it, like they use for their peace, their harmony, and the harmonization between all their cultures, and, you know, they have ships of science, so them suddenly going to a bit of a war footing is a massive shift in tone for them, and a shift in tone for Star Trek, but kind of fitting for DS9. I mean, I think there's like a lot of people who complain, like the Star Trek, you know, it shouldn't be a war, it shouldn't be action, but when it's done like this, it's a different moral lesson, and it's a different example of history being transposed into a different place. Sorry, I went over about 5 different topics in my head as they evolved one by one there. I'll let someone else talk about it.
I agree. Rule of acquisition 45. War is good for ratings.
It didn't work so well for Enterprise.
To circle back to Dan's point about the trenches, a quote from director Winrick Colby, who served in Vietnam. The battleground always looked like there was absolutely nothing there that anybody could ever want, yet people were blowing each other to smithereens over this land. I wanted AR-558 to be that type of battlefield, a totally nondescript piece of real estate that didn't deserve one drop of blood to be shed for it. It shouldn't say anything to the eye or the mind except that we were there because someone had decided to put a relay station on this rock.
Yeah, that's kind of part of the reason why I was thinking of Saving Private Ryan, because it literally, how many people die to save one person just because Command arbitrarily decides that one mother has suffered enough and shouldn't lose her last son. It's very, very interesting that they both kind of... But I suppose that's a very common theme in war, is the banality of what you're sacrificing for when you really break it down into material objects and, like, the land that you lose. Like, the amount of times that you hear about, like, trench warfare where people get pushed back into other trenches that other people were using a few months ago, and then they take back their land, and it's like, oh, well, I was here 5 months ago. Isn't this great? You know, I'm back here again. Something else I appreciate about the way they differentiate between the new conscripts and the people who've been there for a while is that they do actually have different uniforms for a few of the characters.
Yeah.
They have like those like grey things with the stripe rather than the full Starfleet uniforms, which I always thought was kind of interesting. Like, some people are wearing the uniforms, some people aren't.
Hazard team uniforms.
Kind of a little bit. But I thought that was a smart way to delineate, like, because you have like is it Larkin who's wearing like the uniform, and she's kind of a bit more of like what you'd expect from a Starfleet officer.
Yeah,
but the people who have really gone through it are really who are really going through it have the different uniform, and I kind of just like that as a visual signifier. They didn't really have to do that. They could have just gotten another grey First Contact style uniform and thrown it on them, but they were like, no, let's do a delineation here. So I appreciate them going to that bit of effort. Like you say, it's in the details.
One more thing that struck me about the episode before we move on was just a couple of times when they wound up contrasting their efforts against the enemy, like almost empathizing with the enemy, like when they were going to deploy the Houdini mines against them, and Sisko has to hold up for a second. It's just like, wait a minute, we were just, or I think it was Ezri actually. It was just, a moment ago we were, talking about just how awful these things are, and now we're going to be using them as a weapon of offense. And then later out at the end of the episode too, when the children are brought in as the reinforcements, but the Jem'Hadar themselves, I guess it was said, if they reach the age of 5, they're considered honored elders, right? So I mean, they were all pretty well children themselves. So so there's a lot of parallels, and but when it comes down to it, it just doesn't matter. They're just there to fight. It's just they're all meat for the grinder.
Yeah,
which is
and Quark calls out Sisko, if this was your son, will you be so cavalier sending him to the front line? It's true that he cares about Rom, and he cares about Nog, and we see that in various places. This really pulls it into focus that he's along on the mission. Did he really need to beam down? Probably not, but he wanted to be there to support Nog, I think. So he comes to the bridge at the beginning. It's not out of concern for himself. He wants to see how Nog is holding up. So
it's wild to think that.
Yeah, I think it's always...
Sorry, go on, Stas.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like Quark will happily throw shade at Rog. What the fuck did I just say?
It's Rom Nog. Rog.
You know what I want? I want an Aces Rog. I want an Aces Rog.
Worst shipping ever. Oh god.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. Roman Nog, like he'll happily throw shit at them all day for being bad Ferengi. Like, they're both bad Ferengis, they're bad at business. But he still cares about them because like they're family.
Yeah.
he even cares about Ishka in Corso Mugi, even though he has massive like disagreements with the way that she lives her life. And it's just like it struck me as just how different the cultural. It's one of those things where because this is Star Trek, you really get to play with the cultural differences. Because you not only have Worf Slayer, this was a great battle. Victory was won here, and you think about how Klingons would have dealt with this. Like, do Klingons get PTSD in the same way? Maybe they do, maybe they don't. I kind of feel like maybe they don't. Because it's part of the culture, but then it's a case of like after this kind of like trench warfare for months would not surely they must crack.
No, I think Klingons get PTSD when the battle is unsatisfying. If there's like one enemy and he falls over, it's like of a heart attack. They're like, "That was disappointing."
Disappointing.
Yeah. No, you leave Seven Corbo, Kevin Sorbo. We're all doing it. Let's go.
We're all doing it. It's fine. That's another ship. But it's also a case of you see it with Quark, where he very correctly is cynical of Sisko's like attitude of like being a commander, and says if that was Jake out there, would you feel the same? But then he's very naive in other ways, where he's like, if the Ferengi were in this position, we would have just negotiated. And it's like, at this point, we're in season 7. We've seen what that looks like. We've seen what opening contact with the Dominion looks like. We've seen what they do to the people that don't agree with everything they say.
Literally the plot of the Search.
Dominion for a reason.
Yeah, go back and watch the Search. They go into that holographic sort of mindscape, and they negotiate basically Bajor to the Dominion and invade the Alpha Quadrant straight away. So yeah.
Yeah, and like I think in another episode, maybe before or after this one, you get to see what their terms would be in terms of like if they actually won the war, and it's like these are not people you can negotiate with. But because like Quark wants, like it's just like he's so in that Ferengi mindset that he can't. He always has to conceive it as no. There's always a way around it, and it's like it's an interesting way to frame. The pacifistic ideal of you should never have to go to war with the reality of sometimes people just like you can't work these things through. Sometimes a fight will happen.
Without paralleling things too much to real life, we're seeing that now. But yeah.
Yes.
One more quote for you from the co-author and executive producer Ira Stephen Bear. I was really getting bummed out how everyone kept asking for these space battles, and I realized that violence and war on Star Trek meant nothing, because it was just ships blowing up and we're killing people, but it has no impact, and we're just as bad as everyone else in terms of making violence just seem like a plot device. So cool. Ships blowing up were cool. We decided to do a war show, and we tried our best to show what war is.
Damn. Ahead of their time. So ahead of their time. It was ridiculous. I mean, I think the only thing that came close was MASH back in the day. That was showing war in a different light. In a comedy light. For a comedy show, it was quite tragic for how much they were showing, what they were showing of the war, really. Okay, so this episode was, as spoken by, written by Ira Stephen Bear and also Hank Beimler, who is face we have Hans. Is it Hans? Hans. Who also wrote
Hunk Beimler.
Hunk Beamin.
Hunk Beimler and Dash Riprock. Yeah.
Hard money.
Big McLaurin.
No one can talk today. No one can talk today. It's fine.
Anyway, Hunk Beamin also wrote. Also wrote Coming of Age. He also contributed to The Emissary, Allegiance, Sword of Kahless, many others, including Far Beyond the Stars, which is also a great one, What Will You Leave Behind, which is the finale. He also co-wrote Shades of Grey. Because, why not? You've got to have a bum one in there somewhere. Yeah, well...
Yeah, we'll put this clip here and then this clip there.
Yeah, I don't know if the writing is really at fault there. That was like...
There was a plot in there somewhere. Anyway, this is also directed by Winrich Kolbe, who's all over Star Trek, but most notably Caretaker, also Allegiance, so the two got to pair up on this one. All good things.
What's with you and Allegiance?
Yeah, and Blood Oath as well. Big notable guest star on this episode, guys, was Bill Mooney. Who knows where Bill Mooney's from?
Danger, Will Robinson.
Danger, Will Robinson.
He was in Twilight Zone before that.
Yeah.
In a very famous one. He's also in Babylon 5. He's been in a lot of sci-fi stuff.
The attaché to Delenn from Babylon 5. Great character. He's... If you haven't watched Babylon 5, you should watch Babylon 5. I'm sure Maze4 in chat will be getting excited because I mentioned Babylon 5.
Also, Raymond Cruz, who a lot of people know from Breaking Bad, as Tuco Salamanca, but he knocks this one out of the park. Yeah. Patrick Kilpatrick, which I said during the watch-along, plays the same role in everything, but he's very good at it. He's either a badass or an asshole, or sometimes both. And then we get Jimmy Darren, who's not a regular, and it's nice to see. So
yeah. Do you know who wasn't in this episode? Who did you not see?
Deanna Troy.
You did not see Deanna Troy. Sorry, Stars. What was that?
Jake.
We did not see Jake Sisko. Sirach Lofton does not appear in this episode at all.
Is it not a bit of trivia that like Jake appears in less episodes than like almost any other regular, despite having regular like billing?
I don't know. Actually, do you know what? That's one thing.
He disappears from massive swaths of the show. If I recall.
Yeah, he's working on his writing career. Oh wait, that's the character anyway. But
so I've got a few.
Yes, go.
I've got a few extra segments.
Talk to me about the music.
So I'm gonna.
Because this is your baby. You keep every time we have a Star Trek soundtrack, you always say like, listen to. You literally grab us around the digital throat, point us in frent of the speaker, and go, "You've got to listen to this."
Isn't it good music? I didn't have anything prepped, but I will say, Paulie B knocks it out of the park. But also, you notice how much music there isn't in this episode when they're sitting in the foxholes, clicking their little plastic iron sights. There's a big stretch where there's no music at all, and it's used for a purpose. So as great as the music is, there's also silence used effectively.
Yeah, it was certainly a choice to have the melancholy music over the dramatic fight scene, and that certainly broke with convention, not only from any sci-fi, but even from Star Trek. You've got your big horns that usually gets to play over that type of thing, and it just it was a really different feel, and it sent the episode in a direction where, I mean, they're not glorifying things. They didn't want to. That's not the way that they want to portray this. It made a lot of sense.
Along with Jimmy Darren in a place you wouldn't expect in the episode. So,
yeah, a theme about the gritty horrors of war starts with Rom singing "The Lady is a Tramp," and trying to get a gig. Although he does have the best line.
He's not hiring.
It's so good. It's so good. Go on, Otto. What's your other segments?
Well, I've got a few segments since this is my episode and I get to grab you by the digital throat.
So you announce them.
Let me ask you, fellas. Okay. First of all, I want to ask for your hero of the episode. We can't hear it. I assume it's a great trigger.
It's an amazing trigger. Let me do that again because it maybe
it happens every time. No, let's not do it again.
Here you go.
All right. Either your either your hero of the episode, either the actor or the character. Stars, kick us off.
I'm actually just gonna go ahead and say Quark. I think that everyone gives a really, really solid performance here. There are no weak links. Maybe Nicole DeBoer, if you want to be uncharitable, but I want to be charitable. She's still like only 8 episodes in, and this is one hell of a lot of material to throw her away. But Armin Schumann is just like, he's been playing this character for 7 years now, and he just has it down to an absolute like science. Like I said, like the subtle nuances of like Ferengi psychology and him making sure to play the concern with Nog, with that cynicism with Sisko. Like, he doesn't interact with a lot in this episode. He's a very isolated element, but he's like, when we get onto another segment, he's probably the bit I'm going to draw away from this the most, because he's just like, it's not often that Quark is arguably the moral voice in an episode, but he kind of is, in a way.
He is, and he kind of is a little bit. I mean, he's obviously got that heavy influence of bias, because Sisko does pull him up later. Like, I care about them all, but we have orders, and that is Nog's order. He knew what he's signing up for 4 seasons ago, like when he first joined and wanted to join Starfleet.
But that's the thing. Did he sign up for war? That's the question.
Well, that's true. That's a good point, actually.
I like how he asked Nog, and you find that impressive? Like, he's inquisitive and disturbed that he would find that kind of heroics impressive, especially as a Ferengi.
He's young, isn't he? So he's, it's the
makes you think.
It's the newbie looking at the grizzled old veteran, go, "Wow, he's so cool," and not realizing that no, he's very heavily traumatized.
Idol, which actor or character is your hero?
I got to go for Kellen, Bill Mummies, because the middle of the war, and he is still being the competent engineer. He's, having a nice, quaint little conversation with Ezri Dax as well, and getting it done. And even when, like, he doesn't do the typical engineer thing where you go, "That's impossible." Like, they say, "Can you move these mines?" He's like, "Yeah, sure." it would be tricky, but I can do it. And I was like, perfect. This guy just knows what he's doing. I'm very sad that he died. I actually am, because I would like to have seen more of Kellen, as you know.
So I've got since I had it prepped, a quote from Bill Mumy. Dying in Nicole DeBoer's arms, that was fine by me. Of course, it would have been sweet if he'd stuck around for a few more episodes, but dying heroically on TV is cool by me.
So, also,
that guy is cool. That's a great outlook to have towards your work in life.
So apparently, when he died, Ira Stephen Beer announced on the megaphone, "Star Trek just killed Will Robinson."
Dan, who's your hero of the episode?
Yeah, before we go on, I just want to give a little more credit to Bill Mumy, because he's one of the child actors that made it. Like he made it.
Oh yeah.
He grew up. He was still productive, and he seems to have a really great attitude. Otto, you had posted a clip in our show chat before this from the American Film Institute or something, where he was talking about his experience on the episode, and every once in a while he would kind of creep into the territory of seeming like the entitled kind of actor persona that some of us come to regret knowing. But then he'd just veer away from it and say just how his real perspective on it was, and how he could stand to learn something from every person and every experience he had on this show and every show that he's been on. And it was a kind of humility that was refreshing, and I'm really glad to see that from somebody that's been in the biz literally from when he was 5 years old all the way up till now. So really cool. He shows up at conventions too. He's a really great sport about it all. So really love the guy. My winner for this episode is Bashir, 100%. It's really fulfilling to see this character go from a flustered neophyte all the way to this competent, really just the kind of doctor that you want in a war zone, level-headed. The scene with Vargas was made twice as good by his performance, because he plays it so completely earnestly and with empathy. When Vargas is just coming at him and absolutely vicious, and he understands. And I think it's coming from a standpoint of just he doesn't have any unanswered questions anymore. He knows who he is. He knows where he's from and what his role is. And it's really great to see not an ounce of irony in the portrayal here. Just a complete professional there to help. He also has my favorite quote from the episode, which we'll come up on later as well. But yeah, Bashir's my man.
Yeah, I think like Siddig might be one of the him and Terry Farrell are like the actors who I think grow the most throughout DS9, because you look at them in season 1 and Terry Farrell's alright, but especially the character of Dax is so ill defined, she hasn't got a lot to work with, and Siddig is just not good. And then especially by season 4, season 5, you're like, okay, I can actually stand to be around these characters now. They're actually really well defined and they grow into them, and especially here.
Pairing him up with O'Brien,
well-defined character.
Pairing up with O'Brien was a very smart move. It's the odd couple, truly is. Otto, who's your hero of the episode?
Boy, I had a choice either between Raymond Cruz, the actor, or Ben Sisko. And since you already called out that scene, Dan, I'll go the other way with Sisko. If this were certain other characters like Kirk, I would say choosing to stay behind would be the cheesy heroic move. I don't think that's who Sisko is. I think he stayed behind because he knew the people, they needed a leader. They needed, frankly, the meat, the reinforcements for the grinder. And just, he didn't hesitate. When the chance came, he decided, and then they pan around, they do the reaction shots. So like, oh shit, we weren't expecting this. Well, too bad. That's the state of the war we're in. And so I just like that little moment of him. And then of course, some of the best lines of the episode, there's only one order, we hold. It's like, oh man, just great stuff from Sisko.
Well, it's also really consistent character writing, because what's the very first thing he does pretty much in DS9 when he gets onto the station? It's yeah, exactly. It's like Kira says, Starfleet officers don't get their hands dirty, and he reaches over and he grabs a bit of thing. There you go. He's the man who gets his hands dirty. He will not ask anyone to do something that he will not do himself, which is a really, really admirable quality in a leader. That's something that you can absolutely respect, and that inspires people.
There's a lot of talk about motivation in the episode. So Nog's motivation to be there is because he idolizes the heroes that he perceives. The people that wear it on their sleeve. Sisko's motivation for being there is a lot different. It's out of an honor and remembrance for all the souls that have been lost and will be lost. I think he needs to be close to that in order to properly be able to understand and honor their memories. And So, you could say it's out of a sense of duty, or, Worf's motivation would be for the honorable chance at a death and going to Sto-vo-kor. And, everybody seems there for different reasons, but they all have the one goal. But, I really liked, I think, Sisko's reason for being there the best.
A couple from chat here as well. Close Eyes to See says, probably Sisko and Nog for me in this episode. I think Nog's a good. He's heroic in a different way. He was used to some kind of good advantage here as well, because they use his hearing, because obviously Ferengis have the large ears and they're not just props, they are actual, he can be a bit of a bat when needs to be. And he was leading a team. A bit of a bat. Echolocation, let's go. He led a team, like you, Mark Doughty, was shocked to say, he led a team through the through the things to find.
And again, he didn't hesitate.
Yeah, he took a hit. He did his duty, and although he had some naive takes, he was definitely the person to do it. You wouldn't see any other Ferengi character being that strong-willed, because he's a very atypical. He's a bad Ferengi, like Rom is. Essentially, he is the subversion of the character archetype that Rom and Worf are as well. That they are essentially the sort of the character that plays the role to show what this race are really like. Speaking
of Sisko, do you have a trigger for us for another segment?
Oh, sure. Let's see what this does. Or do I press it now, or do you get to announce it?
Please press it.
Okay. It was Yar getting frozen. Is this a cool segment?
Bread.
Oh,
bread. Idol, what's your bread of the episode?
I thought you had another section. I thought you said, I've got several. All right, fine. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's go on to bread of the episode.
We've been doing this for 6 years, and we never get it right.
What is your bread of the episode? This is how it keeps it fun. What is your bread of the episode? The bread being the moment or particular sequence in the episode that stood out to you, the same way that bread did to us in Babel. Dan, let's start with you.
I guess just the visual sticks out to me of what was the character's name? But Patrick Kilpatrick just sharpening his knife on the front lines, and
with a little sonic.
Everybody else is preparing themselves mentally. He's already there. He's been locked in. He's been locked in for 5 months now. Jesus. And the only thing he cares about is just making sure that his tools are ready to do some carving. I liked that, again, silence in the scene, and the only thing was just the sound of his sonic sharpener kind of going, and everybody's on edge, and he's just like, yeah, all right, bring it on.
Nog's on eBay buying those knives right now. He's like, yeah, we can market this. They're on Etsy somewhere. Otto, what was your bread?
It used to catch me off guard every time, but I've seen this episode enough times now that it has become my bread. You are in the headspace for a gritty war episode. You hit play, and it's fucking Max Gredenchik on stage singing "Lady is a Tramp," and it's that's all I can think of now. Hey, that's today. We all speak.
He's
good.
Actually quite a good singer too. He performs in Trek conventions all the time.
Rom's on. Let's go see Rom.
What about Rog? Can we go see Rog?
Yes, the Rog and Roll show.
Stars. What is your bread?
Mm-hmm. So my bread would be it's a combination of acting and camera movement, but it's the shot right after you get Quark doing the quick draw on the Jem'Hadar coming through the door. Because it's this amazing look of him slowly falling back against the table. This look on his face of just I just I lowered myself to the level of everyone else I had to kill in order to save someone who I care about and myself. And then just a really subtle but really, really immersive zoom in on him. And it's just it's understated. There's no dialogue, but it's just a really lovely little flourish of a character moment. And it says everything it needs to without a thing. The fact that there's not even a word, not even a single word, just a facial blast is amazing.
Quick draw.
Quark has killed before, right? Did he kill one of the Wayun clones?
He's taken a few out.
Yeah,
I'm sure he has.
He killed that Klingon in Grilka.
You might have me.
That's right.
There's two.
Yeah, sure he did.
There's two moments for Quark. One that you just mentioned, which if you don't know anything about him, it might just be a dramatic moment where he kind of stands up straight and looks. But the fan knows he hears them coming, and that's why he decides to turn around and shoot. And then of course when Nog is screaming. I love that he just slowly walks outside. He's like, "Am I hearing what I think I'm hearing?"
Yeah.
Even from kilometers away. So, idle.
Brett. I'll definitely go for the shot where all the Houdinis suddenly reveal themselves around everyone, because you kind of got this invisible threat, and they go, "Hey, let's see where they are," and they're just like right next to it, and everyone's just like, "Oh fuck!"
Well, guys, we're in the Dom Jot.
Yes,
we are the Dom Jot.
Do you think Rog likes Dom Jot? Yeah, there's just that scene and just that little bit of silence as everyone sort of looks around themselves and they're just like, oh wow, we're like literally like moments away from just being nuked for no reason.
Yeah, I think I called out Vargas, especially having to like play like pants shitting fear while like that like maybe they gave him like a little green ball to imagine, but like he has to act as if he's just like got a mine in front of his face.
It's
like,
terrifying tennis ball on a stick he's ever seen. Yes.
Okay, let's
All
go
right,
on
before
to
we get to my last homebrew segment, because I did ask for homework. Your line of the episode.
Oh, line of the episode.
You will have nothing
except my honor.
Sure, why not? We play triggers. Line of the episode. Gosh. Who's going first?
I know. I think Dan and Stars are locked and loaded. So Dan, you kick us off.
Yeah, it's got so Bashir's line. I joined Starfleet to save lives. Just recognizing that many of them are there against, their training and probably their better instincts. But he's going to do what he's got to do. But he doesn't have to like it. Insightful.
Stars.
Yeah, go on.
I couldn't choose between two. I've got Quark's It's a Little Too Late for You to Care, isn't it? It's so bitter. And it's just like, it's exactly what Sisko doesn't need to hear right now. But he also doesn't really have a response to it, because like Sisko's seen that kid grow up from like a tiny little, like a guy who was stealing from like, shots on the promenade, and now he's like this ensign full of promise, and then shot on the battlefield, he's going to lose a leg. Like that cuts right to the quick. And the other one is the communications degree. It's worth it, right? And it's like,
oh. And then seconds later, Sisko smiles, and it's like, I know what you're trying to do, but like, Jesus Christ, it's a no-win answer.
Yeah.
Like, what do I say? Yeah, it was worth all those lives. What do I say? No, it wasn't worth it. I can't give you an answer that'll satisfy you. And again, it calls back to like the fact that like this came out before Saving Private Ryan is wild to me, because it also recalls I think it might be the final line of the movie, which is like Tom Hanks telling Matt Damon's character, earn this, earn it. Like you make sure it's worth. And the fact that like if you think about it from a meta perspective, we don't hear about that comms array ever again. I don't think. I'm pretty sure it doesn't come up again. Was it worth it?
558 does make one more appearance, but it's just like a small background thing. So
yeah. So it kind of just draws to light the fact that all these tiny little engagements, all these lies are being stuffed out on this massive scale, and it's just another episode. It's just another engagement. It's just another thing. Like from a meta perspective, I think that works kind of really well. So those are my two choices.
Interesting.
Idle. What had jumped out to you as your line of the episode?
I kind of just go that bit before the big battle where Kellen's sort of fidgeting and he's playing with his thing, and he says, I wonder if the Jem'Hadar get jittery before battle, and then just Sisko very solemnly just goes, wouldn't count on it. And it's just like, there's no hesitation for like kind of like easing him into it or just saying, maybe they do, maybe that, no, these are Jem'Hadar, we're not fucking about here. This is... unfortunately, my friend, you have just said your final line of the episode, so that's somewhat. Wow. It is, if you think about it. Yeah.
I think he doesn't even call out for Ezra. He just shoots the Jem'Hadar and then dies. Yeah.
And there's one later, and Worf comes along, and goes, "This was an honourable battle." Well, not quite as Worf's a bit more stoic than that, but he comes, "This is an honourable battle," and Sisko's just like, "Well, yeah." But what did it cost? Essentially,
it cost enough.
It cost enough. That's the one. Yeah. So yeah, I'll go for like deadpan Sisko just being like, it needs the same in the casualty report, just a little one-liner just to kind of just say, yeah, this is, I am conveying the emotion that you need to be feeling right now. Otto.
I got two for you. I like to be greedy. First, early on in the episode, Ezra says, remember the 34th rule of acquisition, war is good for business. Quark says, only from a distance. The closer you are to the front lines, the less profitable it gets. The longer you think about that line, the worse it gets. And then Raymond Cruz Vargas' big speech. I won't do the whole thing, but he just said, and I just sat there and I looked at him. 1 minute he's tying the bandage, the next minute he's flat on his back. And I just sat there and looked at him. That was so great. He was so quiet. Great. One time in his life he's quiet. That little line, that was so great. Made him less than. He took enjoyment in a fellow officer's death for a moment. Oh, man. They didn't need to put that in, but they did. So.
And he snuck it in there. Raymond Cruz's delivery on that line was so understated for such a big revelation. Remarkable. Well, you were greedy. I'm gonna show off my backup because nobody else called it here. So all right. Good. So at one point there's a nice little moment between Quark and Nog. Quark, let me tell you something about humans.
I forgot about this.
They're wonderful, friendly people. As long as their bellies are full and their holosuites are working. To take away their creature comforts, deprive them of food, sleep, sonic showers, put their lives in jeopardy over an extended period of time, and those same friendly, intelligent, wonderful people will become as nasty and violent as the most bloodthirsty Klingon. And it's kind of paraphrasing Lenin, right? One of his famous quotes, society is 3 meals away from revolution, right? So,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But Ferengi have always been a reflection of humanity's more base instincts, and really interesting to see that reflection turn on itself here.
Yeah, Quark is always a good.
They are kind of the.
Sorry, go.
They're the TOS Vulcans of Deep Space Nine.
I think, like, you know, Quark especially is very good for his sort of like in the Jem'Hadar and in The Way of the Warrior. He's a couple of speeches which very much just show the Federation as like, this is how we look at the Federation. This is how the rest of the world, you know, like, they're very cushy, they're very happy, you know, and it's almost insidious how much they just come in and be the hero. But this is, it kind of almost feels like, you know, other cultures see the Federation as just like this dream, like people just like the elves from Lord of the Rings, very much up in the air, very much airy, sort of floating through life. But when it comes down to war, and they're suddenly like, oh no, here it goes. Quark's always had some good insights into that. Okay, let's move on to
the best advice I can give you is to just be yourself.
You're the worst thing that ever happened to Zek. You're the worst thing that ever happened to me.
Actually, that's the second best piece of advice.
In fact, you're the worst thing that ever happened to the entire Ferengi Alliance.
No.
Just stop saying that.
I'm going to change that to the Lady as the Tramp version, I think. Best and worst moments in the episode is going to be hard picking, but this is why I'm going to put Auto up first. What is your best and worst moments in the episode?
All right. My worst is just going to be, sorry, Jimmy Darren, the line, you know, Pally, sometimes being a hologram can be a real pain in the asymmetric photons. Like, really, did you stay up late writing that line, fellas? Did you? My best moment is when Sisko decides to stay, and he says, all right, you have your orders. He's standing there. Lieutenant Larkin comes up to him. What are your orders, sir? There's only one order we hold. And we get the first taste of the melody, Paul's melody that's going to come back. The music swells. We hold, you know, in Avery's baritone. It's like, that catches me in the throat every time, I think, more than anything else in this episode. So that's my best.
Nice. Stars.
So I really do hate to be that guy, but like, I think the worst would have to be just like Esri is not great in this episode. And it's not Nicole DeBoer's fault. She is like, you know, like I said, she's 8 episodes in, and she's having to fill this massive void that's been left by a fairly beloved character who's been around for 6 seasons. I don't think she was quite young, I think, at the time, and she has to just like do this whole war movie kind of thing. And she does not fit in a way that like, there's a way to not fit in a way that fits in, and this doesn't fit in a way that doesn't fit in. Like, she feels artificial in a way. I don't know how far ahead they wrote their scripts, but I almost wouldn't be surprised if there's an early version of the script that had Jadzia instead. And I think like it was just a lot to ask of a fairly new character, and I think probably a fairly new actress. Again, I don't know how much credit she had to her name. I think she does all right, but in a really packed, like, murderer's row of talent, she suffers by comparison, I think. And, like, the material doesn't really elevate her that much. It's just a case of a lot of talking about other hosts, which is like every other episode with Ezra is like, Chantia was like this, Tarias was like that. And it's like, okay, yeah, can we...
They
Talking
do
about
that
more
a lot.
interesting plot lines than the one you're currently in is usually not a good sign for a character.
Yeah. Like, she has the good moment where she's holding Kellen's body. I think that's amazing, but, like, that's at the very end of the episode, and it's like it's just a bit of physical acting, and I think that's really, really good, but the rest of it is not. It's probably the weak link in the episode. My best moment, I think, it's probably the risk they took with permanently injuring Nog. Because that scene could if that was a regular character, like someone on the main cast, you wouldn't think for a moment that they might die, but they play it with a supporting character who gets hit in the leg, goes down, he does this awful scream, which you've only ever heard played for comedy, and it's just like this real moment of vulnerability. And then there's like the first time you watch it, you're like, oh wait, Nog isn't in the main credits. He could fucking die. He could actually just die here. And like I think Aaron Eisenberg mentioned, Nog had been a gung-ho soldier who thought nothing could happen to me, wanted to be Starfleet and be the best, because only the best can become captain. So no matter what he saw, no matter how many people he saw die, he was like a train that just kept going. Then he got hit. I played him as if he were in shock, but the first thought that would come into his head is, oh my god, I could die. And it's very noticeable that, like, he has the little scene with Sisko afterwards where he tries to play it like as cool as he can, but he's obviously shaken. And it was just really a big gamble on, like, you caring enough about the supporting character who is just of another Ferengi, and trusting that you've built up a bond with him, because you have. By this point in the series, you absolutely love Nog. And what I know that you prefer this over Paper Moon, Auto, but Paper Moon, if we do another second round of draft picks, will probably be one of my first rounds, because I love that episode. There was a lot to choose from, but guess what? You could do a 15-round draft pick of just DS9 episodes, but just the way Eisenberg plays that is great.
Have we watched Paper Moon together recently?
No, we haven't.
Oh no, we watched it in Blackpool.
I think we have.
We watched it in Blackpool.
I won't read the whole quote, but they did want to take both of Nog's legs, and it was Rick Berman that ended up nixing that. He doesn't like too much continuity stuff, so the one leg, I guess, is what they could get away with. But
what we got back didn't last long. Dan.
Yeah. Worst moment. I'm gonna have to piggyback on you, Stars, because Esri and Kellen did not gel. They had no chemistry. They tried. They gave them a good amount of screen time. Yeah. Their performance on the planet was really kind of throwaway. I guess they did eventually regain communications with the starship, so that was helpful. But I think the worst moment for me was kind of a missed moment where they could have had some way of tapping in and using the communications array to that end instead of just playing on their tricorders. And wind up being somewhat heroic in their attempts to find a way to communicate, being able to help tune in on the troop movements or find some way to contribute other than just the thing we didn't see, which is them reprogramming and deploying the Houdini mines. We didn't get to see any of that. And so it just everything that they did just kind of felt like it was left on the cutting room floor. And that led to them, I think, being done a disservice. It just their subplot didn't work, and I'm glad they were there. It was good to have some different perspectives, but I just didn't feel like they added anything, and they took away from the parts I really wanted to watch, like my best moment, which was when Sisko's finally overcome. He's you want him to be the hero. You want him to be there and save the day, and he just can't because he's only human. Just like all the 1,730 other names on the war report from this week. When he is knocked down and blinking through the pain and wondering, what's going to happen next, and we don't know. And Otto, as you mentioned, it holds on him for an extremely long time while we're just wondering what's going to happen next. Is he going to roll over and dodge the blow? Is he going to mule kick him and double axe chop him to the back of the neck? And none of that happens. He just passes out. Yeah. It really, really crystallized the fact that there are no heroes, only the lucky ones.
I think it's on that one as well. They kind of double gave us a little bit of a double take, didn't they? Because they kind of faded out and then faded it back in again as if he was going to get up, and then they finally because he looks up and sees the Jem'Hadar coming approach, and then he blacks out, and then advert break, which I can only think of what atrocious advert would have followed if you were watching this at the time.
There wasn't an advert
was that
break
not an ad
because you
break?
can hear the music play across it. Yeah. He falls down, fades out, fades into the Jem'Hadar, fades out, and then Reese, when he fades up again,
are you suffering from sleep apnea? Try Ketracel White today. Sorry,
and actually, no, the advert break comes right before that track, War Adagio. You can look it up on YouTube. Great track. They do the commercial cut right before that, and they come back with the music and fighting. That's like all one, that last act. So.
Okay. I'm gonna me.
Best first.
Okay. I'm going to start with my best. I will take any amount of Quark talking shit about the Federation, like I mentioned earlier. Him and his conversation with Nog. Quark, a lot of people say, like, why was Quark there? He was pretty much shoehorned in to say, like, oh, the Grand Nagus wanted you in for negotiations, which is usually the usual excuse anytime Quark is on the Defiant. It's like, oh, the Grand Nagus wanted you there, and he usually kicks his feet and gets a bit annoyed. But anytime he was talking to Nog, it was always the contrast. And I love anything that sort of, like, acts as a bit of a plot hook to let people know who are casual viewers who might just sort of like tune in and go, oh, which episode's this? Oh, hang on, Quark's talking about something, or using that sort of like to highlight almost the horrors of war compared to like the comfort of the Federation as well. So him sort of like saying like, you know, people are only 3 meals away from abject terror, and that being sort of reflected with this overstarved, underslept Starfleet crew who probably had a lovely job on a scout ship, flying around a nebula or taking science readings, who are now deep in the thick of it. So that was, you know, I will take Quark doing any of that and being put out of his place and getting really angry about doing so and having to take it out on the Federation is great. Worst moment is not necessarily a moment, more like a style. I know this is a gritty war episode. I know this is supposed to be a bit darker than news, but this episode was so dark. Even when you're in the caves and they're getting their medication, a little bit more light would have been nice. You know, you can have big artificial lights going over the battlefield and have things still look. This was a very badly lit episode. I kind of feel like it wasn't. It's just mud and grey all on the screen at the same time, and it kind of, when you got to the sort of the big battle, it was a little hard to differentiate who was going down where and things like that. I know they made a sort of highlight of it, but it definitely felt like an episode that could have sort of had another pass with like, right, where should we put the lighting? What should we do here? Maybe add a little bit of colour into it, because, you know, although it is, you know, like I said, it is war, but it wasn't featureless. war is anything but most of the time. So that is my best and worst. Gentlemen,
I can show you my rating code.
Schiller rating 3.5. Associational rating norm -3.
That's much too low a rating.
I'm just not accustomed to seeing an unsatisfactory rating on a member of my crew.
I don't think we're going to see any unsatisfactory ratings here, Mr. Picard. So please, Auto, what is our Schiller rating for this episode?
Gentlemen, how many chestnut trees and wishing wells out of 10 would you give this episode?
Okay. Wow.
That's a good one. That's a good pick.
Start with you, Dan.
Okay, what was it? How many transtators out of 10? Oh, sorry.
What's transtators, precious?
Boil and mash them, stick them in an EPS conduit. The second time we made that joke tonight. Come on, let's go.
It's a good one, damn it!
So,
sorry, Dan.
No, it's all good. Looking back on the totality of the episode, I asked myself, is it a great episode of television? Absolutely, without a doubt. Is it a great episode of Star Trek? Because this is a war movie. You know, we've drawn parallels to Saving Private Ryan, and this is somebody's experience being put out on paper and put through the lens of our Star Trek characters that we love. We have the subplot with the communications array and with the phasing mines. We have some starships up in the atmosphere. We don't see them, but they're there. You know, there's the background of Star Trek here, but really this is an episode of war television, and this goes back to the roots. You know, you got a lot of gritty stories in Wagon Train, which the original Trek was based off of. So even though there's not a strong sci-fi main story here, I think this episode is quintessentially Star Trek. It's about the people interacting with each other from all different stripes, coming together for a common goal, working to overcome against insurmountable odds. It's exactly what I want to watch, and there's no way that I can give this less than a 10 chestnuts and wishing wells out of 10.
Fantastic. I'm going to jump in. Yeah, this is an amazing episode that is sort of the, like you said, it's almost the antithesis of Star Trek, of its original designs for sort of being the wagon train to the stars to search out, seek out new life, new civilizations, and do things like that. But this DS9 always subverted those expectations. It is very on par for what this show tried to do with the Star Trek universe, which was paint it in a more realistic light, and especially when it came down to war and kind of, yeah, like Maze 4, Star Trek also includes wars. It kind of did war a little better than kind of Star Wars has a little bit, because we kind of got 2.5 years of a full-on war from all sides. I think my only complaints about other than the lighting, I'm not going to dock points for the lighting like I mentioned earlier. That's something inconsequential.
It turns up your gamma was at 43 the entire episode.
Yes. You know, it says see the two icons. I'm like, there are icons? No. It's always going to be a stunning episode. I will disagree a little bit that this episode didn't have lasting consequences, because it does feel like Sisko and crew do go back to their nice comfortable station, and there's another load of recruits coming in to get bombed to oblivion. Maybe the message will go back to Starfleet and this will be better, but the next episode after this is Covenant, which is Gul Dukat with his harem. So is
and what's the one after that?
It's Only a Paper Moon, which is fine.
Okay.
Yeah, we do have lasting consequences, but essentially it is still an episodic piece of television. Again, I'm not going to knock it too much for that. It's just more realism. So I am going to give it, there's a 0.5 in it. It's a 9.5. 9.5 chestnut trees and wishing wells out of 10.
9.558.
No, there you go.
I should have done that. Okay,
give me the significant figures.
Stars. Go for it.
So yeah, I do definitely agree that this is a very dark and very grey episode. Like, that is a stylistic choice. That being said, I think you could have done something a bit more interesting with the set. Maybe like have some kind of like weird lichen. Well, it kind of is the cave episode, but being mostly open air. You could have had some kind of like photosensitive lichen that could have like made it a bit more visually interesting, but that's nitpicky, and I think it probably would have gone against the spirit of the episode to do that. So with that being said, the only real criticism I actually have is the Ezri stuff, where I think it's just like, I understand exactly why they chose her to go down, but I don't think of all the characters they chose that were not combat trained veterans, hers was the least ably executed. And it just did not feel like it felt like a notable downgrade. Like, thankfully it didn't take up as much of the running time. They know exactly what their strengths were and they honed in on them. But I have to I mention it. I think I would have to give this 9.558. But you round it up to a 9.6.
Okay. I'm putting 9.558 in there. We're gonna get.
She'll shake herself apart at this speed.
Yeah, 9.6 chestnut trees and wishing wells out of 10. This is an amazing episode. Yeah, if we talk about like Star Trek as an examination of the human condition, war is absolutely a part of the human condition. You know, as another favorite franchise says, war never changes, and you have to hope that humanity will eventually. So yeah, like, this is kind of essential viewing. I think that you would be doing yourself a disservice to ever skip this. But in fact, I feel like most people would put this on absent of a rewatch. Like, why would you ever skip this? Like, this is essential.
Yeah, I've seen people say it's just too heavy. They can't get in the right frame of mind for it.
And why are you watching DS9?
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what I think.
You could replace. You could replace Ezri with O'Brien. I think maybe his technobabble with Billy Mooney could have landed, but I would only allow that substitution if he then cradles the dead Killen in his arms at the end the same way that Ezri did. Because
you get a reprise of the Minstrel Boy?
Because it wouldn't be comedic at that point. You know, even for the 90s, a man holding another man in his arms, like, people get it. This episode supports that. It would be something. So
go for it, Auto. Take us home.
it kind of bothers me when DS9 fanatics just wax lyrical about their series. Oh, it's the best series. Who could argue that? The character development, and it's so real, and it does get to me. But I can't argue with them with episodes like this.
Then you sit down and watch it. You go, damn
Yeah.
it, right.
Dan pointing out the choice that Cisco, even though he gets his big heroic moments, when it's crunch time, he gets his ass knocked out. And someone else has to come rescue him. Ezri, when she gets that nauseous look on her face, and we have to stop and wait, we're being hypocritical. When Quark points out, would you send your own son there? And Cisco gets irritated and walks away because he doesn't want to really have that conversation right now. They're your heroes, but they're not in exactly the right ways to make you think and make you feel. And for me, at a certain point, when you reach a certain threshold of this makes you feel, you can forgive more and more things. I didn't love Ezri in this either. I hate the cave floors that they rake perfectly clean. But then you go and read about how the parallels to World War II, and this is such a gray little shitty piece of rock. Why are we fighting over this? It doesn't matter. And that's the point. So, as I already spoiled, this is 10 chestnut trees and wishing wells for me.
Fantastic. Well, this episode has scored an average of 9.765 chestnut trees and wishing wells. Did have to take in the 9.558 into consideration for that one, since we went 3 decimals deep, which you should never do without a license. Is
that not the cruising speed of the Voyager? I felt that's a wonderful.
I think it is. So this is our new number 7. This is in the top 10 of episodes that we have watched so far. Equal
what
to
is our top 10? Tell me.
Equal to the Magnificent Ferengi, although I think the Magnificent Ferengi scored slightly higher due to a point. Equal to Knight, Chain of Command Part 2, Those All Scientists. Better than Under the Cloak of War by 0.2 of a point.
Those two deserve to be linked for forever.
Yeah, they're like that, really.
They're pretty good. Yeah, they're pretty close.
I mean, when we talk about them, we're like, well, where else does Star Trek do it in the whole franchise? You can only point to these two episodes, point to each other, and that's
does
that.
TOS get as gritty at any point? I don't think it does. There's
No.
a Savage Curtain, maybe, but...
But I would like to shout out the beginning of Arena, where they beam down and they have like bombs going off, and they set up these little grenade launchers, and you only remember the stupid slow Gorn. But the first 15 minutes of that is actually pretty interesting. So,
would you like a Star Trek overall update? Because I've been keeping track of how we rate Star Trek.
Oh yeah,
and
we
finally dropped as massively.
It did drop massively because we started off doing all the early episodes of series, and
the season ones. Yeah.
It was like a 5.4. We are up to a 6.4 now, so it can only get better from here. Here's hoping.
Looking at our draft list, we got some strong picks.
We got some bangers, and then there's Frank's list.
Turnabout Intruder.
Yeah.
And yours, yeah.
And the rest of mine. Well, we did Frame of Mind, which I need to get edited and put up, actually. So, thank you, gentlemen. This has been great. Thank you, everyone in chat. Chat's been feisty tonight. It's been really good to hear you guys' voices. So thank you for dropping in and seeing a few new faces as well. So always welcome. Keep an eye on our Discord or on the YouTube channel for our next event, our live look. We've been talking about looking at some of the early Gene Roddenberry things, like the Questa tapes and Genesis 2, and some of the sort of precursors to Star Trek, things like that. So we might be delving into that. We might do some more Andromeda. I'm kind of trying to poke people into doing more Andromeda. You shake your head. You were like, I want to finish the season the other day. Come by our Discord, come by the YouTube, do like and subscribe and all that rubbish. But we will say, live long and prosper, and ta-ra.
Brace yourself.
Are you all right?
For a revelation.
Someone tried to kill you, Garrick.
More shocking.
Why would the Romulans want to have Garrick killed?
More catastrophic.
Sounds like they're preparing for an invasion.
More devastating than the Federation has ever confronted.
You'll be taking Romulus and Cardassia into war.
On the next Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Brace yourself.
Someone tried to kill you, Garrick.
For a devastating revelation.
You'll be taking Romulus and Cardassia